phonies, Crazy Pretzel here, and I'm gonna actually do a TNA Impact review from last Thursday. And yes, I know it's Monday, but you know what? I can do whatever I want, so I'm going to talk about TNA Impact. I know I haven't done Impact in a while, and I know people love to bash Impact, rip on it, bury it, destroy it, kill it, murder it, whatever, but, I thought this show was pretty good wrestling-wise, but again, storyline-wise, a lot of it you want to just be like, why? So, I am probably gonna praise some of the matches, but I am gonna talk about some of the storylines, things I would change and would like to see, or try to make some sense of it. So, this is gonna be a happy, positive video. I promise. So, before I go into this, so I've been doing I started like a TNA Knockouts versus Divas series of video, like I did one last week. I've tried to I did one 2 weeks ago, and I did one last week, but YouTube wouldn't allow me to post it. So, I'm gonna see if the Wrestling Revolution will let me put the comparison video on their website, maybe. And we'll see how this week's goes. Because basically what I do is I take Impact, SmackDown, and Raw, and I compare the matches. And if I can, I like to post the matches online and, let you guys see who you like better. Mostly I like to prove that the TNA Knockouts are better than the Divas. And it's funny how a small company like TNA can do women's wrestling justice when WWE, this big company, does nothing for the women. It's a disgrace. So, anyway, let's go into the show. So last pay-per-view, TNA had like a submission match between Robert Roode and AJ Styles for 30 minutes. And it came down, 3 falls to 3 falls. And they never had an overtime in the pay-per-view. And, the crowd wanted an overtime. So TNA decided to start the show off with a 5-minute overtime from the pay-per-view for the World Heavyweight Championship. 1 fall to a finish. Now, I don't really think that was a good idea, because I think if you're going to have a World Heavyweight Championship match on Impact, shouldn't it be the main event? You know what I mean? So, but other than that, I thought this match was pretty good. Like, the action was fine. Rude was working on AJ's, knee and leg during the matchup. So, it went to the 5 minutes, and then nobody scored a fall. So Sting restarted the match, and then Rude attacked, AJ's knee from behind. And then he put him, in a half Boston Crab submission, and AJ tapped out. So, even though, I didn't like that this match was on Impact, to open the show for such a short period of time, I'm glad that they had Robert Roode beat AJ cleanly, instead of interference, disqualification, bullshit, just cleanly. So I'm glad they went that route. So, congrats to Robert Roode. Really liking his title reign so far. Next we had Scott Steiner and Abyss versus Hernandez and Rob Terry. So TNA is having a wild card tag team tournament. Basically it's random teams are whoever wins this, series of random team matches is gonna fight Hernandez and Crimson for the tag titles. It's kind of dumb to me to do this because, you have some established teams, like Mexican America, but it's you're going to just put random people together. So, anyway, we have Hernandez, Rob Terry against Scott Steiner and Abyss. And before I even go into that, it's kind of weird how Abyss is out of Immortal, and now Immortal wants to bring him back in because it'll give them more power or strength or something. But it makes no sense because Immortal's not running TNA anymore. Sting's running it. So, I don't understand why having this big, monstrous bully is going to help you, when you have no authority power whatsoever. You know what I mean? It's kind of like if you were going to go rob a bank and you have a big muscular guy with you or something, but the police are already there with guns. So how are you going to do, accomplish what you're going to do when the guys have guns? You know what I mean? That's how I feel about this storyline with them trying to get Abyss back into Immortal. So, Immortal's useless in my opinion. Anyway, Steiner, Abyss versus Hernandez and Terry was a pretty good matchup wrestling-wise. Steiner and Abyss won. They won. Abyss Black Hole slammed Rob Terry, I think, to get the pinfall. But the pinfall made no sense because you know how in a tag team matchup you have 2 good guys against 2 bad guys. The bad guys beat the shit out of the good guy for a while. The good guy tags in his partner, and the partner cleans house and everybody. Well, Scott Steiner, being a bad guy, pretty much got his butt kicked for most of the match, and like Abyss wouldn't tag in. So Abyss comes in illegally and clotheslines Hernandez and Terry, and basically cleans house on him. So Steiner gets out of the ring. So there's no tag made. You know, Abyss isn't legal. So then he goes up to Steiner and tags him in, or after he black hole slams Terry, and then Steiner pins him. So the ending made no sense because Abyss wasn't legal. I don't know if they knew that or not. All right, next segment we had Kurt Angle and Sting promo. Basically, Angle wanting to get a rematch because Storm beat him at the pay-per-view. So Sting, refuses it because Storm wants to, should move on to Bobby Roode for the world title or something. So Angle was complaining about a loaded boot from Storm, and he said that he's going to go to Storm's hometown and beat the crap out of everybody there. So maybe the police should be notified because Kurt Angle's going to show up and annihilate the entire town. So, yeah, take that for what it's worth. Next, we had a good matchup, the next division match, Zema Ion versus Anthony Nese. I don't really know anything about Anthony Nese. I barely know Zema Ion, but he's pretty good in the ring. I would check this match out. If I can find a link, I'll put it in the description box. But they're having like a best of 3 with these two guys to see who's going to fight Austin Aries for the X Division title at the Genesis pay-per-view. So this match went about 4 minutes, 5 minutes. It was pretty good. There was one thing interesting was like Zema Ion had like, was kind of, I think he's a heel, but he basically was kind of like, he would cover Anthony Nese to get the 1, 2, and then he would pull him up. So he did this like 2 times in the match. And then after the second time, like, he went up to the top rope, and I thought, Anthony Nese was going to move out of the way and get, like, an upset victory or something. But no, he hits him with a 450 and pins him. So, and then we cut a promo after it, or they have him backstage, and he says that he's the prettiest wrestler, and it's all about me, myself, and I. So, apparently he's, like a Ricky Ortiz pretty character gimmick kind of guy. I don't know. It's almost like a Rob Conway gimmick. Look at me. Look at me. I don't really like it. I like this wrestler, but I don't like this gimmick. They gotta do something else with him. Next, we had Gunner versus Jesse Neal. Ric Flair was hyping up Gunner to destroy him, which I don't know why, because I don't know what Jesse Neal did to Gunner. I don't like that name, Gunner. I mean, I wouldn't mind the name so much if it was like Eric Gunner or David Gunner. You know what I mean? But it's just Gunner. I'm going to put a t-shirt that says Gunner. That's going to sell money. I don't have a problem with this wrestler and his ability per se, but I just hate that name. It's like Gunner. You know what I mean? Taz always calls him Mr. Intensity. They should do something with that at least. It's just Gunner. You know what I mean? Should have a wrestler called, Rowboat. Rowboat versus, you know what I mean? Anyway. Nothing really happened in this matchup. Jesse Neal got his butt kicked pretty much, and then he got DDT'd on the concrete. Gunner basically got DQ because he shoved the ref. So Jesse Neal wins by DQ, but Jesse Neal is leaving TNA, and he got stretchered out because he got DDT'd on the concrete. So the point of that was to send Garrett Bischoff a message, I guess, because he got pile drove on the concrete last week or something. But it makes no sense because Jesse Neal's not really related to Garrett Bischoff, so I don't get how it sends the message. It's kind of like if you work with some buddies or something, and there's a guy at work that you didn't like, and you beat the shit out of him, so then you just go up to a regular coworker, and you just beat the shit out of him. And to send him a message, you already beat the shit out of him, so how are you sending him a message? You know what I mean? It makes no sense. Next we had Sting and Karen Jarrett backstage, and basically, just drama because Sting was going to fire like one of the Jarretts this week, so they were both Karen and Jeff were pleading for their jobs. But instead of saying something positive about, firing him or herself to have the other one keep their job, they were basically praising themselves and saying fuck off to, husband/wife. I don't know. You'd have to see the promos to get what I mean. Anyway, I like Karen Jarrett. We had a Hardy Bully Ray promo. Basically, Hardy hyping up that he's #1 contender, and that Bully Ray's like saying, you got to deal with me tonight, and I'm going to kick your ass, basically. So, that's pretty much it. I like Bully Ray. I kind of wish TNA would give him, like, a world title, title shot, or let him get the belt at some point. And I know I might get some heat for that, but the guy's good on the mic, decent in the ring. I mean, he's really, you know, he's got what it takes, I think. So, and honestly, he's probably been a lot more loyal than Hardy has been, you know, with the whole drug stuff. I'm willing to give Hardy a chance, but he's got a long way to go to, you know, prove me wrong. So, next we had another mixed wild card tag team match. We had Robbie P. and Douglas Williams versus Samoa Joe and Magnus. Again, we couldn't have British Invasion, you know what I mean? But at least they didn't put Robbie P. with Samoa Joe. But anyway, this was probably one of my favorite matches of the show. Like, I thought the action was pretty good. And I kind of marked out a little bit when Samoa Joe kicked Robbie P. in the head with his jumping kick. I wish Samoa Joe would just beat the shit out of Robbie P. I can't stand him. You know, I actually kind of like Zack Ryder, but Robbie P. is just a ripoff of that character. And yes, Zack Ryder is a ripoff of the Jersey Shore, which I don't really like the Jersey Shore, but for some reason I like Zack Ryder. But Robbie P. is a ripoff of Zack Ryder, so I can't stand him. He's fucking annoying. So, anyway, Joe and Magnus won. I'm kind of picking them to win this tag tournament so far, depending on whoever else is involved in it. So, they pretty much, like, both of them don't want to, like, you know, they don't like that they're partners, but they, you know, want opportunity to be a champion, so they're teaming up. So, basically, like, the fact that they hate each other or hate being a tag team is actually going to be a good thing for them. So, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Whatever. Let's see where this goes. So then we have a Devon and the Pope promo, and basically, it's just, you know, Devon's more Pope bullshit with Devon's sons. I hate this storyline. They've been doing this storyline, like, you know, with Devon's sons, like, every time Devon's on TV, like, there's his sons in the crowd watching his dad or something. So now they have the, you know, the sons involved in the storyline with this. Basically, Pope is kidnapped, you know, not kidnapped, but, you know, twisted his son's, you know, minds around because he's more like, you know, hip with pop culture than their father is. So brainwashes them, influenced them, peer pressured them, that kind of thing. So they turned on Devon and Pope beat him up or something. So I hate this storyline. I hate it. I don't even want to talk about it. Next we have Madison Rayne versus Tracy Brooks, one-on-one. And I really didn't expect much out of this match for, like, you know, because Tracy Brooks isn't really, like, a full-time knockouts wrestler or anything. I don't know if she's going to start getting back in the ring or not, because she wrestled last week and she wrestled this week. So I'm wondering if she's making an in-ring return, because I thought she retired. But I don't know. This match actually wasn't bad. They gave it, like, 4 or 5 minutes, and pretty much, like, Madison Rayne just, like, Tracy dominated Madison at first, and then Madison just beat the crap out of her for the rest of the matchup. And there was a cool spot where Madison did, like, a neck breaker on the ropes to Tracy. If I can, I'm going to try to find this match and post it, but we're going to see what the YouTube gods let me do. Which makes no sense because, you know, okay, sure, I'm posting something illegal, but I'm not trying to make money off of it. I'm just simply trying to entertain. There are plenty of other people on YouTube that post shit that's not theirs, and that's okay, you know, and it's not like I get a ton of views for it. I'm just doing it because the wrestling fans, I want to entertain you, but I don't want to make money off of it, so why can't I post it? But anyway, Madison Rayne hit the Zack Attack, which, if you remember, Zack Ryder did that move. Like, she hit the Zack Attack, and Tracy kicked out, you know. So I was kind of confused by that, but then Madison hit this, like, running stiff kick to the head of Tracy and pinned her for a 3 count. So it was a good matchup. I'm glad Madison won, but I really don't get this because, like, Tracy's, like, you know, taking a lot of shit from, you know, Karen Jarrett and Madison, Gail Kim, but she's trying to, like, fight back now, but why would she lose to Madison? You know what I mean? I thought that booking was kind of weird. So, and then going into that, next we have, like, you know, a Jeff Jarrett, Karen Jarrett, Sting thing to find out who gets fired, and basically Sting fires both of them. So I'm kind of disappointed with them firing Karen Jarrett. I heard she's going to have, like, ankle surgery or something. So it's kind of like, I'm kind of disappointed with that because, not disappointed with her getting surgery, but I'm disappointed that she's, like, getting taken off TV as an on-air character. I mean, she'll probably be back at some point, but they were kind of pushing like a Velvet Sky Karen Jarrett feud, and I was kind of hoping eventually it could have either led to a match where Velvet Sky either fights Karen Jarrett, or Karen Jarrett like has there's some kind of stipulation that Karen has somebody fight for her, and that say if it was Gail Kim, if Gail Kim loses, Karen Jarrett would have to relinquish her power. I was kind of hoping they would have gone for some kind of storyline, where Velvet would finally get to dethrone Karen Jarrett from power kind of deal. So I'm real disappointed that they never did that. You never know, they might bring it back, but... And then in the main event, we had Bully Ray versus Jeff Hardy. Pretty good matchup. I can't really complain about it. Robert Roode did some commentary, which was cool. Jeff Hardy won the matchup. It took 2 twists of fate, but he won. And then after the matchup, Robert Roode came out and attacked Hardy, and Bully Ray helped beat up Hardy, and they wound up powerbombing him through a table, and then Sting tried to help Hardy, and then Sting got his butt kicked. So TNA was decent. I do want to